Sometimes you want to buy the best and sometimes you don't want to buy the best. When it comes to things like tools, you want a good set of tools around that'll last a long time and will not need to be replaced. But then again, you also want the crappy tools around. So when you see tools at a yard sale or something, you can pick up the wrenches and things like that, the sockets. Yeah, there'll be duplicates, but sometimes you want a duplicate set. For example, my father had to grind down an old wrench. He had a cheap, crappy set of wrenches that he had laying around for sacrificial things like welding. You use a wrench, a piece of tool steel. It's still stronger than crap steel. In this example, he ground down the wrench so that it would fit in a tight spot, and he threw it in the modified toolbox. I don't really have a modified toolbox, but I think he has several. And what it is tools. For example, he put I believe either he bought this or made it himself. He took a screwdriver, cut it, and welded a piece of some kind of metal rod in the middle of it so that it could reach. I think he bought that off an air conditioner guy, but that's a modified tool. Now, one thing, not too long ago, I bought one of these carabiners. For years, I carried the crappy kind of carabiner, the kind that you find on most people's keys. They're pretty flimsy, and the main thing about them is the part that flips and is spring-loaded would turn slightly sideways and would miss. So you'd put it on thinking it had clipped when it hadn't, and you'd lose your keys would fall off. So over a year ago, I bought this one for like $6 at REI, I think it was. It actually has some numbers on here. I have no idea what they mean. I wanted one, A, that was more rugged, B, didn't have any coloring on it because all the color was just going to rub off anyway, and C, was big enough to fit over my belt. Because I wanted to put it over my belt, not my belt loop, because I always wear a belt, and B, I've lost a couple of belt loops that way. This one's over a year old. I've never had one last more than 2-3 months tops. This one is flawless so far. So I've learned that this is one of those things you want to buy a good one. A carabiner that your keys are on, because you don't lose your keys. Tables. That's another thing. There's a little wide range of variant. You want a table you're going to paint on, you're not going to buy the high-end table. You want a table that you're going to put in a conference room, you buy the high-end table. We have one at work. It's one of these, it's a fold-up table, but it's plush on top and has some kind of clear coat on it. Looks really nice. Fake wood, fake wood paneling look to it. Great table. Right now it's folded up, leaning against the wall because everybody's afraid to touch it because it's a nice looking table. Nobody wants to mess it up. Every office has a couple of these type tables in it. People bang on them, there's chunks taken out of them, nobody cares. So those get used. Weed eaters. I don't buy a nice weed eater because I don't know how to fix them. So when they go bad, I want to buy the cheaper one so that I can just replace it. If I knew how to take care of it, if I knew how to take it apart and adjust it, then I would buy decent lawn equipment. That may be a moot point pretty soon because I've decided that I have to, because of the homeowners association, I have to go to a lawn care person. Now here comes a whole other group of quality. When you're buying services, I don't understand how to tell if somebody knows what the hell they're doing or will show up on time and will be reliable when it comes to picking a lawn care professional. That's not the job that really reliable people get into. So I'm not sure how to choose somebody. Natalie suggested putting a sign in the front yard and making people bid. And I'm like, well, yeah, but person 3 would come along and grab person 1 and 2's cards and throw, so you'd only have one card at the end of the day. Whoever was the last one who came by. That's what I'd do. Anyway, so there's a whole other area that I have no idea how to judge. So we got these, which are these like pellets that you use for washing dishes, and they're kind of lame. But if you use 2 of them, they're not so bad. Natalie bought these newer ones, the Cascade ones, actual name brand ones. I've only tried like one of another bag. They work pretty well, but they're expensive, so I prefer trying to eat through the old bag first, through that old bucket first. I'll just use 2 of those at a time until they're gone. Here's another example. My tubular. I wanted one that would lay down and that you could reverse the handle and everything on. And I didn't want a super high quality one, A, because it'll probably end its life by getting stolen. That's what happens to all of these two-wheelers. They end up getting stolen instead of ruined. Didn't want a full-size furniture mover. I don't really have a place to store it. And besides, I wanted one that would fit in the trunk of the car, and that one will do that. So that's another example. What kinds of things out there do you want high quality, and what kinds of things out there is low quality work better? Either in mass quantity. Most things you would think you would want the high quality whatever, but I don't know. There's a lot of stuff out there. There's no point in getting the high quality whatever it is, because the low qualities, if you only use them once a year, they're fine. So do you want to waste resources? Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments.